I've had a mad day today. You just wouldn't understand. It has been absolutely wild. I got cramp in my hands. I've just been frantically scalping because when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. Okay. And we've got earnings of Meta and Microsoft. Check this out. Listen to this. Says here, estimations of earnings per share on Microsoft, right? Estimations was 3.21. Earnings per share was 3.46. Smashed it. Revenue, 68.48 was the estimate. 70.07 billion was the end result. Cloud revenue, 42.4 billion. Other cloud services, plus 33%. Estimation, plus 31%. This is all for Microsoft. And then productivity processes revenue, 29.9 billion versus 29.6. That's boring. Anyway, we're waiting now for eBay and, of course, Meta to come out with their earnings. NASDAQ's doing very nicely. What did we say? The trickery of the market. They dropped it. They bought it all the way back up. But Bitcoin... This thing is starting to annoy me. It's starting to behave. Sorry, let me just get rid of this. It's starting to behave like the good old XRP. How's your evening been? Trump today in his little cabinet meeting, again, lots of kiss ass and lots of things being discussed. And then all of a sudden, from a credible source, there was a conversation that China is in talks with the US. Looks kind of promising now, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? We might be getting into a little bit of a deal. The Eurozone's too concerned about spending more money on their defense. That's going to be yippee-ki-yay for the euro in the near future. Going over and looking at the actual results of the rate swap monitor. And someone asked me a question. This is free. There's no paywall. This is accessible to everyone. 5.93%, 11.4%. The days are going down and the rate's going up. Today's D-Day. 1st of May, ladies and gentlemen. May is, well, it's not the 4th, but, you know, May the 1st be with you and all that stuff. I know it's the 4th, but anyway. Bank of Japan policy rate is being released this evening. Monetary policy statement followed by the outlook. The word is they're keeping the interest rates on hold, but that doesn't mean they're excluding the idea of not increasing them later on. Of course, tariffs are coming into play. I've said it once and I'll say it again. The true issue with Japan and Trump is not tariffs. It's forex manipulation. When the yen goes up against the dollar, it does actually hurt the Japanese yen in terms of exports, okay? That's why the yen always gets a smack to the downside. That's why they force it to stay lower. And when the dollar goes too high against the yen itself, they then buy dollars and then dump it back into yen to bring it back up. That's the forex manipulation that Trump is always on the back of them saying, stop doing it. There needs to be a happy medium. There needs to be a re-leveling on the yen. That's like when the Cypriot pound was absolutely smashing it against the British pound. And the British were like, no, thank you. We can't have any of that. Let's just flip it over, get rid of that currency. It's too strong. And let's replace you with a pointless euro. When the price of bread was like, it was like a pound, like 150 back then in Cypriot sterling. And then when the euro come along, it was like €4 for a little bit of bread. But then again, why are you even buying bread? Make it yourself for less than that. Even with the inflation of a new cut. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. But tonight is going to be a very interesting night. Let's just dive into the price action. Bitcoin is just doing nothing. It's currently in the XRP formation. Let's go and have a look at XRP. I mean, XRP made a little bit of a move, but ended up in exactly where it was before. So those of you who are into XRP, get rid of it, so I can buy more of it. Anyway, I'm joking. Don't do that. Don't listen to me there. Solana made a little bit of a move down to only come back up, not giving us anything. Ethereum, nice drop to the downside to only reverse it back up. When the NASDAQ drops, Bitcoin cryptocurrency drops. And then when it comes back up, everything else comes back up. Let's quickly go and have a look at Microsoft out of hours. Oh no, where's the line? It's gapped up, ladies and gentlemen. $415. Is this enough for the idea? Because listen, we are not too far away from the all-time high. Look at this. NASDAQ, you wonderful thing. We said it this morning. they're going to drop it and rip it back up again. You absolute nut job. Let me define you what a nut job is. Look at this. And listen, I had a conversation today with dearly beloved Mike. And listen, I'm a scalper. I don't like swing trading because it's just, I have to be making decisions. Okay. I have to be doing something. So scalping is my forte. I'm in, I'm out, fast in, fast out. That's all I care about. If I'm wrong about something, I'm out. If I'm right about something, I'm out. Okay. In front of you is today's executions. You might not see it. I'm scalping. And Mike told me, go easy with the button, man. Like, calm down a bit. And he said that to me when I did 67 trades yesterday. Today was 201 trades. And listen, the way that I trade, ladies and gentlemen, is when you're trading on Ninja Trader, I don't have the issue of spread. There is no spread for me. I've got the lifetime package where you pay nearly $1,500 for it, and you are literally paying tuppence per lot size. To top that off, I'm going in with micros so that I can scale my size and add to the position, get the most out of it. Okay. What I'm effectively doing is trading the way a market maker trades, where he's in and out, in and out. Go and watch all the documentaries from in the past. Okay, on any of those traders that you used to see back in the day where they sat there smoking their cigarettes, trading. And you got that pound trader. He was up in the Asian session. He sat there with a cigarette. I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and he sat there and he's gone in for like 30 million on pound yen. And he places the order, smokes his cigarette, 2 pulls on his cigarette, and then he closes the trade. He flips 20 grand. That's how they're trading. I need to mimic that as a scalper. Now, of course, it's different. You've got to pick the right platform. You've got to be very sure that you're going to do well with it. Now, have I made a stupendous amount of money today? No. Look. Only made $1,986. But when you're executing an edge continuously and you're in the zone and you're in and you're out, you're taking anything that is being given. I'm talking 4 or 5 ticks at most. And anybody that knows NASDAQ, NASDAQ can move easily 5, 6 ticks in your favor and then drop straight back down again. That's why I'm frantically going in and out, in and out. Now, I've been doing it for a long time. You can't expect yourself to be trading exactly the same way. Don't put pressure on yourself to trade like that. It's not going to work. You will be overwhelmed. Your eyes will be fried. You get super migraines, headaches and all that. But you got to love the game to do it. But when you're in the zone and you're watching the way the NASDAQ is making a move and you're starting to see the order flow, then you say to yourself, okay, I might put 2 and 2 together, add to this position, take away the position, cancel, move orders, move limit orders, bring it back. It's absolutely crazy. So when my eyes are fried and I'm staring at my screens, it's hard and you can't mimic that. But can I teach you that? Yes, I can. I can make it easier for you. You don't have to do what I do. And it takes time to get to the level where you are frantically pressing buttons left, right, and center. It's hard. But you got to love what you do. You got to make sure that even when the shit hits the fan, you've got to keep doing what you're doing. Started off on the day and I was scalping and I ended up being like $700-800 down. And then I was like, right, let me increase my size a little bit. And then we flipped it up. We made our money back. We paused. Trump started talking, and then he said something about something good's going to happen with China. And then that's where I clocked on. I was like, okay, we're going to start to see some movement. And then bang, started going crazy on the scalps, in and out, in and out. So when you're trying to scalp, ladies and gentlemen, if you turn a scalp trade, okay, if you allow, see, this is all I was scalping here, all of this, okay, I was scalping that. Earlier on in the Discord, I was talking to everyone. And I says, look, get ready for some longs. 19,500 NASDAQ. And that was when NASDAQ was down at 19,160. Gave him a TP of 19,300. We break 19.3. We're going to be going up to 19.5. That was my target. We smashed 19.5 and we ended up going to 19.771. And if those guys are still in that, happy days. Take some money off the table. It's good news for Microsoft. So then that means the tech market is going to get that little boost. Tomorrow it's going to be an interesting day, but Japan might come in and spoil the party. So just be very careful going into Asia tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We know they're keeping the rates still, but it's if they say we're going to cut in the future, we're going to increase in the future, then whatever you're witnessing right now happening on the yen, in principle, is carry traders taking advantage of the fact that the yen's going down. They can borrow it. It's cheaper. And they're going to convert that over to dollars. And then once they're done with those dollars, they'll get those dollars, go over to the NASDAQ, go to the S&P, start buying everything, which is mimic. Look, the dollar is up. Yeah. The NASDAQ is up. So the carry is happening right now, because if they're not going to do the interest rate increase now, then I'm going to wait until May, and not May, wait until the next meeting in Japan for the press conference. And I'm going to try and exploit that quarter, try and take advantage of the value of the fact that the yen is lower. So where does it leave us with Bitcoin? That's the question. You people are going to get the rug pull or short squeeze. Listen. I don't think a lot of people understand what's going on here, okay? I don't think a lot of people understand. How many of you, let me ask you all this question. How many of you believe that Bitcoin is not going to go up? Type 1 if you think, nope, it's not going up. Type 2 if you think that it is. I just want to know my audience. Tina, what's your NVIDIA projections for the next year? NVIDIA price target $500 going into 2026 with a market cap of $6 trillion. I'm not paying barely any fees, my friend. If you look closely, I'm barely paying any fees, but this is a personal account. But if you go into the settings on NinjaTrader, you pay for a package. It's the lifetime package where your fees are next to nothing. It costs you nothing. Okay. If I just do this a second. So I do pay fees. Okay. But if you look down here, accounts, if you look, right, I paid roughly, so my gross realized P&L was $2,343. Okay. Realized was $1,986. Okay. So I'm paying about $200 $250 worth of commissions. Okay. If I had a normal account on NinjaTrader, that would probably be about $700-800. And that'll be a really shocking day. But that's on a normal account and a free account, to say the least. But because of my style of trading, I have to pay for that service and pay for the lifetime subscription so that I don't have that worry of too many fees because of my style of trading. Okay. And you know what, guys, I started off on spreads back in the day when I was trading Forex on dollar yen. And there are videos in the channel that show you that. There are videos on the channel that show you that. All right, here we go. One. You do not believe. You do not believe. Oh. And who's bearish now? Who the hell's bearish now? And you're cussing at me. All of you hiding behind your keyboards. Ones, the twos. Look at you. 3. Bro, where did I give you the option to say 3? No. And if 3s, they're going to do both. Then I'm not interested. Do you think NAS has bottomed out on a daily time frame? Would you have the bullish W? Okay, let me explain something to you. So I'm going to give you right now the story of macros. Okay, I'll give you the story of macros, and alongside that, you're going to be able to understand where we are from a macroeconomic perspective. All right. So I'll keep it slow for you. First things first, the expectation that the interest rates are going to stay at the level that they are right now is going into the next meeting is about 93, 94%. To back that up, it's right here. Okay. Give it a second. There we go. 92% that the interest rates are going to stay the same, right? This is where we are for anybody new passing into the live, right? I'm talking about the macro story of where we are right now to help you understand why maybe Bitcoin is getting ready for a move to the upside. Okay. So expectation that interest rates are going to stay at the rate they are, 4.25, 4.5%, which it really is 4.32% roughly. Okay. That's what they are at right now. Expectation is they're going to keep it that way in the next meeting, which will be in 6 days. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so we can hear about good old boy Jerome. Okay. Now, next, the expectation of data from the Federal Reserve or for the Federal Reserve to justify cutting the interest rates this week alone has given them a very interesting picture. Okay. JOLTS job openings come in at 7.19 million. So there's less jobs being offered. Cool. Lower than expectations of 7.49. Consumer confidence down. Even though Wells Fargo said that consumer spending is normal and it's not doing anything different, consumer confidence is down. They expected it to go down, but it actually came in lower. Going into Wednesday's data, today, we got the ADP non-farm employment change coming in at 62,000. That's less people being offered the ability to work. The ADP itself shows the following. The number of employed people during the previous month, excluding farming industry, it released, and the data provides an early look at employment growth, usually 2 days ahead of the government-released employment data that is designed to mimic. That means it's designed to mimic what the non-farm payrolls is going to be. So if the non-farm payrolls this week is going to show that there are less jobs available, okay, that means at a reading of 133,000, we could actually get a reading that shows negative. So it could be down by, it could even come in at 89,000, okay? That will be a horrible reading from the employment market perspective. The employment rate will be going up. And if the employment rate does not go up, that's a sight for sore eyes. It needs to match. So if the unemployment rate does go up on the back of the less jobs being available, then of course that makes life a lot easier for the Federal Reserve to cut the rates. But more importantly, for the first time since 2022, the US economy has contracted. GDP data came in today showing minus 0.3%. They expected 0.2%, but it came in at minus 0.3%. That's not good. It means what you're putting out, you're getting back minus 0.3%. That's no good. And you got tariffs on top. We'll talk about tariffs in a split second. Employment cost index is still high, 0.9%. Advanced GDP price index comes in at 3.7. So what does that tell you? Advanced GDP price index says the price of all goods and services included in GDP. Not so long ago, they were going to revise the GDP. They were going to revise the GDP, which actually meant that the true figure of where the economy it was at was actually $600 billion deficit. Meant that we're celebrating an economy that's doing well when the real figure is saying that it's down $600 billion. But for some magical reason, that hasn't been mentioned or discussed. Go and have a look at the actual revised GDP figures. They kept revising the figures today that we got released here today. These aren't the true figures. That wasn't the right one. But pending home sales is up 6.1%. Who's buying right now when your sentiment is down, your mortgage rates are really high? What's going on? So it's starting to throw the Federal Reserve off a little bit because all they can do is stick to their mandated 2% target for inflation. Why is this a problem for inflation? Just alone, the core price, the price index itself going up is telling you goods and services are moving up 3.7%. That means inflation is going to go up. Investors or should I say businesses are starting to get concerned about things and they're thinking, you know, well, we might have to increase the cost of our goods. Now that tariffs are going to come along, that reading next month is probably going to show an expansion up to like 4%. That could be the case. So from a macroeconomic perspective, we know that the Fed's going to keep things as they are, and they're all waiting to hear if they're going to cut the rates. Gold's price, not doing anything yet because they don't have the information. Non-farm payrolls this week will give the Fed enough room to maneuver on the rates if it comes down and the actual unemployment rate goes up. If that happens, gold will shoot up, okay? Because it would have solidified the idea that the interest rates are most definitely going to get cut. But the Fed can't do it yet unless it does become problematic. That's why now the tariffs, they're saying that it's going to be fixed at 10%. It's not moving. We're keeping it at 10%. Trump keeps on reiterating that the US has been violated for so long, and everyone's been taking the piss out of the US in terms of trade. He wants to eliminate that, okay? So you've got Trump, who is a stubborn patriot, wants the dollar to be back to its normal purchasing power. He wants to make sure that he preserves it, the golden age, make America great again. So what does the investor think about this? He knows that the rates for the dollar are more than likely going to go down. So what's he going to do? He's not going to sit in bonds now, is he? No. Why? Because the yields are going to come down. Look, the yields are down. The stock market is up. Why? because the expectation of interest rates in the future is going to be lower. So I'm not going to earn that much on the yield on the US bond. I may as well go over to something that I can earn a little bit of cash with. NASDAQ. Look how close we are towards the all-time high. This is with tariffs. This is with high interest rates. This is the possibility that interest rates are going to get cut again. And this is, of course, the idea that maybe tariffs might go in, might not go in. It's doing very bloody well. And on top of that, Microsoft is actually doing well as well. And we're going to wait to see what Meta has to say. Wait a second. Where's Meta? I haven't even got it, but never mind. That's where we are, macroeconomically speaking. Bank of Japan, don't worry about that. If they decide to increase the interest rates tonight, we've got a problem. Everything will slump. NASDAQ will drop. Dollar will go down. Euro will shoot up. And yen will shoot up. So keep an eye out on the yen and the euro going into this evening if they do something out of the norm. That is, if they say we're increasing interest rates tonight. But it's very unlikely they're going to do so because I believe they're doing the Forex manipulation conversation with Trump. It's all happening behind closed doors. That's all it is. Because that, did you understand? At any moment's notice, Japan can turn around and literally hurt the dollar. You think the euro can hurt the dollar? It's the Bank of Japan that can hurt the dollar. Because dollar yen is such a monitored currency pair. And when the yen, or should I say the dollar, shoots up against the US, against the Bank of the Japanese yen, the Bank of Japan go in and just buy a bucket load of dollars and then convert it into yen, and that drops the dollar down. That's Forex manipulation. That's what Trump is trying to override. So with Japan, I mean, it could be one big conspiracy. Who knows? But yeah, that's where my head's at. So Circle what? Circle rejected Ripple offer of $4 billion. That's unbelievable. I'm shocked that they actually... Why XRP? Buy XRP, Ripple. Buy more of it. Do a buyback. Don't go and buy Circle. That's how you know XRP ain't going nowhere. If the company wants to buy a stable coin issuer, you know XRP is going to be flat. Anyways, back to my question that you all said ones and twos, okay? So the majority of you believe that Bitcoin is going to go up, okay? The issue that we have is how is Bitcoin going to react to what's going on? You see, the tech market right now is getting a bit of a boost that it needs from Microsoft, okay? And it's more than likely going to get a boost from Meta. Let's have a look at Meta for a second. Where's that? That's gapping up at the close as well, okay? But what you got to look at is this. Bitcoin is not yet one of the assets that can be deemed as part of the portfolio for your mum and dad investors, okay? Go and ask any of your relatives if they are 50 or over, okay? Ask them to name you financial assets, okay? Some of them will say stock, some of them will say gold, some of them will say oil, some of them will say the S&P 500. If any of them say Bitcoin, then you're on to a win, okay? But the majority of people will say the legacy assets. Now, Bitcoin has been in a huge consolidation period, and I think we're going to get the repeat of what happened last time. You remember me talking about this consolidation period over here on Bitcoin? Let me just show you. Do you remember this consolidation period? This is historically the longest period of consolidation that Bitcoin has been in, close to its all-time highs. That's the longest period. So that was from roughly from the high over there on the March the 12th, 2024, until the breakout point, which was November 2024. Okay, the 6th of November. So the idea is that if they are consolidating like this, given that if you look at all the events that were leading up to this breakout, of course, Trump, elections, hype, and what have you, that's what led that move to the upside. Where are we right now? Well, we're going into what could be quantitative easing, where the Fed starts to ease off the interest rates and cuts them. So that means more money is going to start coming in. Tether's printed $2 billion USDT in 15 minutes. So that means more cash injection into crypto. It ain't just going into DeFi as well. Okay, you've got accumulation happening on the ETF, institutional accumulation, whales accumulating. Yeah, one guy earlier on said that the demand for Bitcoin is actually not coming in just yet. But fundamentally, price will dictate that. Going into the order flow itself, you can see that they are picking up the bids. The market's memory over here got triggered, and then they've started to buy over here again. See that 43 million picked up at 94,400. I see that as demand. I don't know where this guy's getting the metric from, suggesting that there is no demand for Bitcoin. So again, the idea for me is this. For every event that happens in the market and Bitcoin manages to recover from it, it's showing signs of accumulation with the preparation for a breakout to the upside. You're not too far from your 100K, ladies and gentlemen. That will be another psychological area for Bitcoin, and it can proclaim that 100K, and then that's going to then fuel another rally to the upside to then try and take out the all-time high. But that will only happen if the NASDAQ gets the flavor that it wants. So far, it's all going to be behind earnings. If Microsoft is doing good, Google's done good, Meta's going to do good, eBay's going to do good. Going into the calendar this week, we need to see what QCOM's going to be saying. Going into Thursday, we're going to need to see Apple do well. We need to see Amazon do well. Eli Lilly, MasterCard, if those guys do well in their earnings, we're just going to get fuel. Because what do you think these guys are? People don't care if they're whatever their business is. As a shareholder, you don't care what the business is. You already know what the business is because you wouldn't have invested in it in the first place. You just want to know, is the business being consumed? And clearly, from Microsoft's perspective, it's being consumed. So what are you going to do? You're going to retain onto your stock. You're probably going to go and buy some more. There's probably more buybacks. You want to understand if a stock's going to go up, go and look at the history of the company's buyback operations. If they're buying back the stock, it means, yeah, they even want the stock and they're giving it out to you, but they want to buy it as well. That's only going to increase the value of the stock. So when you've got that and you collate all that information, where's money going? It's going into the tech market. You might get yourself another tech rally. Because logically right now, there is no real news that can really drop the market when you think about it. Interest rates are going to be cut in the future. So they're pricing that in now, and they're expecting 4 basis point cuts. Okay. So we're going to get, hopefully we're going to get a 1 whole point cut. Okay. That's what they're expecting by the end of the year. Gold is going to keep on doing its thing as a safe haven. And if investors are going to see that gold is going to go up because of the interest rate cuts, gold's going to keep marking higher. That should then add fuel to Bitcoin to go higher. Everyone's going to start getting into the tech market again because the earnings are really good. So from now until the next quarterly earnings, we could be in a rally to the upside to recover. There's nothing that can come out right now that can suggest that it's bad news. Tariffs, they've been absorbed, but we haven't had tariffs just yet. Maybe they're going to wait till it all peaks out and then we'll see what the impact of tariffs is. We ain't talking 125% anymore. We're not talking about 600%. Now we're talking about 10%, 5%, 15%. So when the investors come to the accept that, okay, maybe 15% will be all right on the tariffs, we can work around that. They'll think, you know what, it doesn't matter. Let's just go back into stock. Let's take on high risk again. We know that interest rates are going down, so what's the point in sitting in the bonds? Might as well take on high risk. Yeah, we're probably going to have a recession. We should have had a recession ages ago. That never happened. And they're saying that the US right now is close to a recession. Globally, the world is nowhere near a recession because it's now in the lower percentile of 20%. There's a 20% chance the world will go into recession, but it's been at 20% for the past 2 years. So when you're asking the question, is Bitcoin going to go up or down? Before you start looking at macros in, your glass nodes and Bitcoin miners and what have you, you've got to consider what reason does mom and dad investor have to buy a stock or an index or a commodity, which is going to fuel the dude that's in crypto to buy more. Because right now you're just relying on the guys in crypto to start picking up Bitcoin, your new whales, to say the least. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, what do you think of HBAR? Do you know what HBAR is? It's a decent asset because it moves really well, but it's just been trading sideways. I've not got no time for it. You want an asset, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just look at Fartcoin for a second. This is for the platinum members. I mean, what did we say, man? Look at that. Not bad. You remember me marking this off? That was the market watch. What a joke. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, Yeah, Fartcoin, man. It's just on our way. Looks like we're on our way. Very interesting asset. Fartcoin. Fartcoin. Anything else? Trading Parrot is someone I hold. Okay. Any questions, guys? Tina, where can I get the hybrid system template for NinjaTrader? I don't know. I don't even think there is one. I don't actually trade off NinjaTrader. My executions are done on depth of market, on Jigsaw. I'm across many platforms, depending on what the day is like. One day it'll be crypto, next day it'll be NASDAQ, one day it'll be Euro. You have to have that diversification, especially in these times when everything is subject to news. Okay. Well done, mad love and respect. Tino, when Fartcoin ETF, couldn't tell you, my bro. Where do you see Bitcoin dominance topping out? Right. Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, okay, it's in a... Look at that, man. Every level has been taken. We need to wipe these out. In all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we are going to get to a point where dominance is going to come back to this range. You might not think it's possible, but don't say never, because your altcoins are going to get absolutely annihilated, and that's the truth. Too much dominance is coming into play, especially when you've got all of what's going on in crypto, okay? I think the norm for Bitcoin is going to be around the 65, 72 region. That's what I think. Especially with ETFs. You might think, oh my days, I need to get rid of my altcoins. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Any coin outside of Bitcoin is a meme coin. That's not me kissing Michael Saylor's ass. It's truth. All right? That's... ETH is a meme coin. Yes, it has utility. All right, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But Ethereum doesn't really land on Bloomberg's homepage, does it? Larry Fink doesn't really talk about Ethereum, even though BlackRock does buy Ethereum. The attention's on Bitcoin. If Ethereum, if there was any other coin outside of Bitcoin that was worth buying, don't you think Michael Saylor would have bought it by now? That's the question. Tino, do you think memes are going to dominate these alt season? Yes. Why? Too much market cap in altcoins. Way too much market cap. And the reason for it is because people have now converted the idea of the altcoin market. It's buy and hold story. So everyone's like, okay, I'll buy and I'll hold. Whereas, and your trajectory for buying and holding is I'm looking to hold on to it for a number of months or even years. Okay. Just look at XRP. How long have you waited for it to break out at 50 cents? That's an altcoin, right? Then you go and have a look at the meme coin market. Okay. It's instantaneous. Pump. People are like, yeah, baby, $1 million market cap on this meme coin. It's going to go, it's going to moon, it's going to do that. And because of how fast the moves happen on the meme coins, that's naturally going to be attracting the guys who want that fast movement. Just trade NASDAQ, man. It's much more cheaper as well, and there's no risk of a rug pull. But where's XRP dominance going to top out? Matthias, I like you. You're a good kid. Don't talk about XRP, man. It infuriates me. Any other questions? And then we'll call it a night. Everyone in finance has a sketchy background. You can't do much with Bitcoin. Supply and demand for instant access to the latest tech. Okay. You know what, guys? I think that's it. I think that's it. With that being said, tonight is the Bank of Japan. I've chewed your ears off for 34 minutes. My bad. But make sure you like and subscribe. Go check out the TradersReality website. There's a free PDF there for you to help you understand how this system works. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love and respect. Peace.